looking back at Wyoming, played really, really well. Offensively, defensively, rebounded the ball plus 16, did a great job in the second half of not turning the ball over. So it was a great win. You know, that's 3 in a row on the road in conference, which is hard. Every game has different elements, and you beat them before. They hadn't lost a game at home. You have the elevation, all that. So to be able to do it was great. And turn the page to UNLV. Obviously, an awesome crowd, sold out. You know, which is you don't take for granted. And hopefully we continue to be consistent with that. White out, which will be fun for the fans. But it's an opportunity for us to, play a UNLV team who beat us pretty good at their place. And they've got great talent. They've won 3 in a row. They have a little break, so we don't know totally what to expect. But we know we have to bring it because it's going to be a tough one. Well, obviously we got to look at some different things. They were both terrific versus us, and they're really good players. I mean, they've got really talented players. Maybe some of the best talent in the league. I really believe that, and Coach Kruger does a great job with them. So certainly we've got to adjust second time around a little bit better than we did first time.
Is there something you guys can do or that they did to prevent the I know Wyoming proved you don't have to create turnovers all the time, but they seem to handle the pressure pretty well against you guys. Is there something they did, or were you guys maybe not on?
I don't remember the exact number of minutes House played, but that had something to do with it. I know he was in foul trouble. So I think that was something. But I think, we were right there, and then they just kept giving it to Boone in the post. We weren't great at guarding him, and he made us pay. So other than that, I don't know the exact number of steals we created, but we certainly want to play our game there.
You probably don't know the exact number on the deflections either, but the deflections is something you guys do chart quite a bit, right?
We do. I could give it to you later. I don't know the exact.
That game probably wasn't very high, though.
I would assume no, but I'll look it up. I could text it to you.
How much do you think your team's improved since then? Since that first time around?
I think we both improved. Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we responded with 5 in a row, which was great. After we had lost to them, they had a bad loss versus Air Force, and they've responded with 3 in a row. So, the season ebbs and flows, but I think more than anything, you just try to get better, and I think we're both better.
When you have a team like UNLV, and UNM's gone through this a lot, maybe the last decade, not necessarily you as much, but that is so high and low, but it's clearly not an ability thing. How do you scout that? Do you look at the Air Force game when they lost by 32 and say, here's what we can do against them? Or do you kind of throw that outlier just out and not even really do that in game film much?
Well, you watch when teams lose and say, okay, is there something we can do that we're similar to? Now, Air Force is so different stylistically than the way that we play. So there's things you see. I normally watch about the last 5 games, see if I can draw something plus our game. But you also don't want to reinvent the wheel. You really don't. You don't want to confuse your guys too much. So you normally put together a ball screen scheme, a post defense scheme, figure out how we're going to attack them offensively with what they do defensively, and kind of go from there.
When you look at that 5-game stretch of games that you guys went on in a row, you guys were averaging about 22 points off of turnovers. Then Boise State kind of didn't do that. Wyoming, you guys are about even. What did you learn from that game, looking at how you guys were able to offensively get going despite that?
Balance on the box score is something we're always looking for. I think when Donovan, Mash, and House are putting up double-digit numbers, we're normally going to be putting up pretty good offensive numbers. So the one thing we did differently that we haven't done is shoot a lot of threes. Shot 30-something threes, made 13 of them, which is a welcome sign. I mean, I've never told guys not to shoot ever. It's probably comes back to bite me a little bit at times, but I want them shooting confidently. And guys just played with great spirit, great enthusiasm. I've said before, you're not going to turn everybody over all the time. But, when you have your spots to do it, you got to do it. But I thought defensively we were really, really good. I mean, they shoot a high percentage of threes, and we guard the three-point line well.
You're at 10 games in, and there's 4-way tie for first, and there's 3 other teams that are 1 game back in the loss column. Like, ultimately, what decides the top team or 2 in the next eight games?
Probably winning at home and stealing a few on the road. I think that's always been the key. I don't know if anybody's undefeated at home. San Diego State, I'm assuming in conference, but
There's another team that just lost. San Diego
Utah State,
Lost.
Boise State, us.
Colorado State, I think, are undefeated, aren't they?
No, lost to UNLV.
At home?
No, UNLV beat Boise State.
Yeah.
So Colorado State in conference is the only undefeated
Right.
team. So I think that's the key more than anything is, can you hold serve at home? Obviously we dropped the one versus Boise, but you got 4 more left. See if you can hold serve there and see if you can steal something on the road.
Do you expect anything differently from this team? Other than last time they played you, the Boone brothers were, lights out, hitting a 3 over and over again. Is there anything differently you expect?
Well, Webster has been hurt, so they're playing big. They're playing the 2 Boone brothers and they're playing Whaley. So they're playing, I mess up their names, but they're playing the Boone, who was the 4, now at the 3. And then they're playing Whaley and Boone at the 5. So that's a very big team. I don't know if Webster will be back. So that's something different than the first time we saw them. So and it's been effective. They've been doing it and they've won 3 in a row. So
You guys are healthy, right?
we are healthy, yeah.
Yes.
Did you ever look at the bracketology stuff? Just kind of read that?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm curious as to, I made the joke about the rankings and stuff, but I'm just more curious about all the metrics. And so, yeah, it normally pops up on your Twitter feed or whatever. But I think too, like, okay, here's where you're at now, but it can all change good or bad in a week.
It seems inevitably, though, that for whatever reason, they're always putting New Mexico as a 9 seed, maybe even a 10, whereas some of these other teams are a 5 or 6 in the conference. Does that ever kind of get under your skin a little bit?
No. We'll see if we're in position for that in a couple of weeks. But no, I'm more just curious as to kind of what they think and where we're at and everything like that.
Jalen this week named Naismith finalist for, or on the watch list anyway, Naismith Defensive Player of the Year. You surprised at all that he got that recognition?
Well, I didn't know what the award was. I'm not, top 15, obviously, that's great. Obviously, they don't give out awards in the middle of the season. But to be on that watch list, he deserves it, I would say. I think if everything goes kind of hopefully according to plan, he's Defensive Player of the Year in the league, I would assume. Gets a lot of steals. He's been fundamentally more sound, I think, this year than last year. When he first got here, it was kind of hard to predict when he was going to gamble. Now there's more of an understanding of when he's going to go versus not. And teams are starting to game plan. I keep equating it to, a quarterback or an offense coordinator not throwing at a certain guy, right? That's what Jalen is right now. His teams are adjusting. They're not wanting to bring the ball up versus him, which is great. And that's something we don't take for granted.
You credited him for being more fundamentally sound and kind of picking his spots a little more. I'm curious how much of that is because he has some shot blockers in the back of him that he can do that a little more, or if it's really him just being kind of wiser about when to do it.
I think he's being wiser about what he's doing. Yeah, I think he's learned from it a little bit. I remember year one, it was challenging to kind of, because you want to let him go. You do. I remember when we took him on the transfer, I called Coach Hurley over at Arizona State, and he said he can change a game defensively. That's what he said. And he can. But there's times where I think this may fit a little bit better because we scrambled a little bit more this year than last year. But yeah, we want him. I think he's been really good lately in not getting in foul trouble and being able to do it as well. Where in the stretch when we played UNLV, he was running into that issue a lot.
See a guy, you tell other players, you should play defense more like Jalen.
Yeah, I do. I said it yesterday. I won't say who about, but he's also an elite level defender. Elite. But it's when you can learn from guys like that. Like, of course, we got a lot of film to show our guys of what being disruptive on the ball is all about.
More like Jalen. There's people around this league that are like, what?
Yeah.
Do you like the fact that you have a guy that is such a just 10 teams in this league just can't stand Jalen House?
I think the more coaches go against Jalen House, they know he's a really good person. They'd love him on their team. I think at first, if you don't know him, maybe a non-conference game, you'd say that. But I bet you if you asked any coach in the league, they would say they have great admiration for Jalen. Jalen is, for one, he's a great person. and that matters greatly. But he may get a little wacky at times with celebrating and so on. But I think all the coaches know it's out of a place of respect. It really is. And he'll be the first one to tell you, after the game to shake your hand and say great game and all that. So I think there's a high level of respect for him. You just got to get to know him a little bit.
Like a coach's answer. Fans hate him.
Well, opposing fans hate me. I mean, that's the way it works. That's part of the deal.
Chiefs or 49ers?
Well, I don't gamble, but if I had to gamble, how do you go against the Chiefs? I think the 49ers are the more talented team, for sure. But Mahomes just has kind of like this Brady factor where he just finds a way to win. So it hasn't been as much fun. We were giving Braden a lot of crap early in the year about it, and now they're starting to win again. So I would go Chiefs, but I think it's going to be a really good game.
Do you have any 49er fans on the team?
No, I think Baker's Raiders. I don't think anyone. I think Donovan is really close to Braden. So just to annoy Braden, he's a 49ers fan. That's my guess.
Do you think not having any 49ers fans on the team might be a problem?
You make up for it for everybody else.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
Actually, I will ask you something else. Pizza. Like, seriously. I never ridiculed pizza.
No, you did. I have the text messages to prove it.
No.
I got some. You said basically you're an outsider. You don't know what you're talking about. Go back to the East Coast. But it's actually funny. It's actually amazing that story came out right after. But I do love the pizza in this town, and I've talked about it probably too much. All right, thank you.
What's I guess let's start with what you learned with Wyoming when they played you a second time. Did you notice them doing things against you that were different from the first time?
Yeah, they were leaving me open from the three. They weren't doing it different. They did that the first game too, but they were leaving me open until I made the first one, and they started to guard a little bit. And they wanted to post our guards up more. I noticed that because they didn't do that the first game.
What you guys got to do to make sure you're ready for whatever adjustments they throw at you, knowing they're going to do something maybe a little different?
Just gotta stay locked in and be ready for whatever they got for us. I feel like they're gonna do the same for real. Post us up, use their bigs to play through them for real.
Looking at this UNLV team, did you notice the first time playing them just kind of how physical the game it is, and you guys?
Yeah, I didn't know that was that physical before, but knowing that now, I know we're gonna have to come playing really physical.
I know you come into every game hungry, but I mean, this is a team that beat you guys and you went on that winning streak, you know what I'm saying? So how much more juice do you guys have coming into this one in the pit too?
We got way more juice. It's like knowing us at the pit too, and the fans gonna be there to support us. We're gonna have to come out really strong for sure.
Boone had 29 points. I mean, that was the difference in the game. His brother hit 5 threes. I would imagine you've probably spent a lot of time studying film on the two of them, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I know exactly what their game plan is and what they do best. So I know exactly how to stop them.
So when she asks you about it being physical, you said that game was more physical than you guys probably thought it would going in. What exactly does that mean? Does that mean when you guys are on offense, they're physical with you offensively, or does that mean when you're on defense, they're going right at you? What does it mean when they're physical?
I say probably both. Mostly on the offensive end, like they give it to the bigs and they expect them to score. So yeah, mostly on the offensive end, they're gonna be physical.
Now your 3-point shot seems to have really improved a lot. I noticed you pre-game last game that you were really working on that.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on the 3-point shot? It just seems to have increased. You're more efficient when you're making shots.
It's really just the confidence. I done got the confidence for it. And so when they leave me open, I tell myself I'm gonna shoot it every time, and it's been working for me.
You get that double-double on Tuesday night, and in this place, Kenny Thomas is a guy that a lot of fans here know about. Have you met Kenny, and what does it mean to break a record of somebody, even if you don't know, of somebody that you know is sort of a legend in this program?
Yeah, it's amazing to know that. I haven't met him in person yet. I follow him on Instagram, and we've talked on there. But yeah, it's amazing to know that I broke that, and not many people have broke that. Well, it's been forever, so yeah, it's amazing to know I broke it.
It's a rare company, yeah.
What was it like when that moment happened? I know your teammates are kind of just jumping up a lot on the sideline.
Yeah.
What was it like seeing them kind of support you?
It was amazing. I didn't think I was gonna get it that game because I got it in under like 15 seconds left. So when I seen them supporting me and jumping, it just felt good and put a smile on my face.
You have rooting interest in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I want the Chiefs to win for sure. I definitely want the Chiefs to win. But a lot of people over here is 49er fans, so it's crazy.
I know I am. Braden, how much do you guys even talk to Braden this week? Is he just all Chiefs all the time?
Yeah, he's Chiefs for sure. That's pretty much why I'm Chiefs. I don't really watch football like that, but no, he's a Chiefs fan. I'm gonna be a Chiefs fan. Yeah.
Is he wearing his Chiefs like pajamas to bed? He's got a little Chiefs nightcap he's sleeping in.
Yeah.
Teddy Bear, Patrick Mahomes.
I know he is. He's one of the big fans. I know he's gonna have that jersey on for sure on next Sunday.
Are there any 49ers guys on the team? No.
Not that I know of, nah. Oh, I think Coach AK is a 49ers fan,
Okay.
but that's all I know of. Yeah.
Does your family gonna be at the game? I know it's last time your family was here, you really had a great game.
Yeah, no, they're not gonna be at this one. They're gonna watch it for sure, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I asked Coach if he ever reads the bracketology stuff because it seems like New Mexico can't get any higher than an 8 or 9 seed for whatever reason, even though you're top 20 in the Ken Pom and all that. Do you ever look at it?
Nah, I don't really never look at none of that stuff. I'm not gonna lie.
Really? So it doesn't matter to you that the bracketologists out there really don't seem to have a lot of faith in UNM yet?
Nah, I don't think about it too much. I try not to.